Hey, what's up everybody? DDO44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so we have the understanding of what the Lakers are offering LeBron James. It's going to be $50 million the first year, $54 the second million, $58 the third year of the contract. 168 in total if my math is correct. Or was that 158? My math is never correct, but you get the point. The point is that we're making a massive commitment to LeBron James if he's willing to sign the deal that'll be on the table for him. I have no doubt he's worth it. Can we afford it? Not realistic. Not if we're actually trying to build something for real. But, I just don't think that we are. I mean, with 3 picks from which to work with, I don't honestly think this team can build a legitimate champion. We can build a Dallas-like finals team, which is good a chance as any. I mean, you put together a pretty good team. You hope your role players develop properly. You hope you can luck out. Maybe you put together something that's pretty good, but you're probably going to be like 5th, 6th in the West at best, working from a playoff positioning that gives you kind of like, a puncher's chance, which is not what we're actually trying to do, but I guess it's as good as we can do. And so that's what it is. I don't understand exactly the inner workings of the collective bargaining agreement right now. So for me to say, yo, this is a terrible deal, I don't really know that. With all of the restrictions that are on this collective bargaining agreement, there could be a situation where you're paying them $40 million a year and you still have the same result because of how difficult it is to sign other people. So it's like, what do I know? What do I really know, man? All I can really tell you is my expectations for winning the championship don't exist. I don't think the Lakers are going to win a championship over the next 3 years. But no matter what, we wouldn't. Because if I'm rebuilding like I want to, you ain't going to win one that way either. So I just think we're working with what we can work with based on the collective bargaining agreement and our obligations to a star like this. And we have another superstar like Anthony Davis who's making that amount as well, basically. So you do the best you can. You hope they can drag you to the promised land, man. And that's ultimately what every team is doing. I think the key to all of this is making sure that you have the right stars in place that can drag our little to nothing to that promised land. And we're banking Bron and AD are the ones to do it, so be it, man. I don't doubt that if we get LeBron signed to that contract, the Lakers will hold on to him. I don't think they're going to trade him. Although, in my opinion, you want to try to get picks for him, but at that price, I don't know that you're going to get what you think. And he's turning 40, 41, and 42 years old on that contract. I put it like this. If I'm a team worth my salt, I'm probably not going to trade for that at no absorbent amount of picks like I would want as a fan. So that's another thing that you got to consider. You don't want to give him something that he ain't going to sign. You put $100 million on the table, he's just going to go get 125 somewhere else. But 158 is like, man, that's you pretty much saying, yo, we're going to win a championship with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, or we're going to die trying. And so I just don't know. I don't really know, man. If he's still playing at this level, then yeah, he's probably worth it just based on the star power and the production. Where he doesn't make it up in production, he'll make it up in star power. So you feel great about that. He keeps you relevant. He's not walking away if he signs that. So that's valuable to you, given the fact that you have 3 picks when he would be doing so. So all these things are working to the price tag. And I believe I understand it. So, well, I just don't love it because I think that, if I'm wrong about the collective bargaining agreement allowing for us to build properly, if we offered him 40, I would love for him to take 40 a year, which I still think for a 40-year-old is insane. But 50 and 54 and 58, that, with all due respect to LeBron James, should be reserved for a younger person, man. A younger person who is destined to be fantastically healthy throughout the course of those 3 years, and then somebody you probably want to turn around and give that same contract to afterwards. And he's somebody who's going to retire after. So it's like, I don't know that's the case. Maybe he plays till he's 45, but like, we're starting to get into a space where it's like the fall off is going to be imminent. It's not really about whether or not you think he's going to fall off. It's when. At this age. So how good do you feel about going forward with LeBron James? It's the question I have to ask myself. And the answer is, he hasn't shown me any reason to think he's going to fall off. I mean, he's doing windmill dunks with Obi Toppin right now. So it's like, I'm not sitting here telling you it's just the worst investment. I'm not sure he ain't going to play till he's 45. You know, I don't know that he's not. So you don't really know. I don't know anything when it comes to this type of situation other than it becomes a real risk once you start talking about a guy in his late 30s and early 40s. You are definitely asking for it. You know what I mean? You're just asking for it. So we'll see. We'll see if he'll be the great antithesis to all of the other players his age who've ever tried to attempt to play at a high level. A lot of guys barely are able to be role players in their late 30s. He's a superstar at 40. So if he doesn't have any big injuries and the way he takes care of himself coupled with his natural genetics, maybe you think he could really do it for you. But I just think the risk is kind of crazy. I really do. I think we're laying it on the line here as it pertains to whether or not this is a good decision or a terrible one. But, you know, I don't know if he'll sign it any damn way, to be completely honest with you. For all I know, he leaves any damn way or gets a better offer somewhere else. But I don't know who would give him more than $50 million to play basketball at 40 years old. I don't know who's doing that. But we did, so there'll probably be another couple teams that would be willing to. But it probably wouldn't be anyone he'd want to play for, that kind of thing. So I don't know, man. I'm curious to see what happens over the next several years. Los Angeles Lakers really do not have a whole lot of assets to afford to allow a person to just retire in their uniform or walk away for nothing. They really don't. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But we definitely got his coach in place, JJ Redick. Also another risk, in my opinion. You hope it works out, but it could be the difference between winning a championship and not when you have a young coach like this. So I just think we got a lot up against us, and if anybody that thinks that this is the ultimate championship opportunity, you see something there that I don't see, man. You see something there that I just don't see. But yeah, man, this is what it is, man. This is what it is. So I'm not upset. I'll be happy if he signs it because, again, you know, he's a star and he is playing at a high enough level to where you can justify this. But, you know, at the same time, it's like, it's a real commitment. 3 years, he can carry us through 2025, 2026, and then 2027. So I guess you feel good about not having your picks in 2027. Push come to shove, you got an old Bron to keep you relevant. Maybe Anthony Davis still on tapped in as well. So the key is to try to carry yourself until you have your natural picks again. Problem is, if the Lakers are just going to give away more picks after that in one of these random summers just to make the team a little more relevant, to make up for the fact that he's aging, then that could ultimately end any chance of you having that as a fall back, a fail safe or a backup plan or what have you. So I think people are honestly playing Russian roulette with their franchise. I really do. I think people are playing Russian roulette personally. And there's a million different guys in this league that are going to be stars, some who haven't become stars yet, and you're going to want those guys. That's what I know. You're going to want those guys. You're the Los Angeles Lakers. You're going to want them, and they're going to want to live in Los Angeles. And if you're wrapped up with assets that are not ascending in value, there's a damn good chance you're not going to get in any of those people that you want. And if your assets are disappearing into nothing, it's going to be tough. It's going to be real tough on the Los Angeles Lakers front office. And I'm just curious to see what happens over the next 3 years. Is it going to be a regime change? If so, will that kind of change the direction that the team's going in? You see how it is when you bring in a new guy. You see that in Detroit. Suddenly changes start getting made. Big deals start getting undone and stuff like that. I'm just curious to see if that's going to be a thing. If the Lakers do decide to go in a different direction with the front office. What does that mean for JJ? What does that mean for Bron? What does that mean for AD and some of the young people? I don't know, but this is the deal they have on the table. They hired JJ Redick to keep him happy. Genie's all in on LeBron James for better or for worse. and we get to live out the path as fans. Hopefully it works out, man. Hopefully it works out. What does workout mean? Another championship. Another championship. You know, as many times LeBron been to the finals, I think it's a decent bet that he finds his way back there somehow. Although you got to have enough to get there. So what do we have to mortgage the damn future to get enough? I'm not a fan of the direction, man. I'm not a fan of the direction. I'd rather this than him walk away for nothing, though. I'm not stupid. If he doesn't sign this thing, half our asset class, $150 million worth of players, superstar is gone. So I'm not stupid. I think that's definitely at this point a better path. Him signing. At least you have him on tab. So it's up to him now. We're probably going to take Bronny on Thursday with the 55th pick. I would be very surprised if the Lakers didn't make that commitment as well. And we'll have everything he wants. You got his coach. You have his son. Unless somebody jumps in front of that situation and takes his son. Indiana maybe with one of their 2 picks in the late second round. And then try to hijack us, tell us we got to give up Austin Reeves to get him or something stupid like that. I wouldn't do it if I were one of them, but you never know what people are going to do. I just think it's a good chance that we find ourselves in a very interesting situation. I think it's a safe bet that somebody tries something silly like that, to be honest with you. So we need to be ready for that as well. So does LeBron James mentally. We could have intentions of taking your son at 55, but don't be upset if it's not possible. And 2, I'll say, I'd be disappointed in LeBron James if he's upset at us for not taking his son at 15 or 17 rather. I'd be very disappointed in him for wanting us to do that. You know, I get it, but you can't be so much of a homer as it pertains to having your kin come into the league on your terms that you have a franchise that you're playing for making terrible decisions with the few first-round picks they have left. And taking a prospect that's not up to that range, that doesn't particularly fit on the need. A need is not the smartest thing in the world for us at 17. In fact, it might be the dumbest thing in the world if I'm being real with everybody. So I don't think it makes sense. I think it makes a lot of sense to just wait it out in the second round, risk somebody like the Indiana Pacers taking him at that range. And I think that's a better risk to take than taking him at 17 when you have real needs and few picks in the future. So that's my thing. I think taking him at 17 would be egregious in every single way. And I really don't care how much people want to soup up his value. I don't really care. That should not be done. So that's what I want to say, man. I'm not against bringing Bronny in. I prefer him go undrafted. We can still bring him in, but people are hard-headed, so they're likely not going to allow that to happen. And that hard-headedness is probably the difference between having assets that really can ascend in value and wasted roster spots, to be completely honest with you. That's what I think. But whatever the case may be, I'm pretty sure our scouts will have us having good players in the undrafted pool. Maybe somebody we would want at 55 will still be available and undrafted. I think the chances of that are pretty solid, I guess. Maybe. So we'll see, man. We still got guys like Castleton and Lewis to develop. And so I hope that the Lakers are ready for that process. Of course, not SGA, I wish. Jalen Hood-Schifino, that's a player that we need to develop as well. So, you know, we'll see what happens, man. I think paying attention to what type of trades are made that may shake open opportunities is something very wise to keep in mind over the next several days, because we learned something from the Boston Celtics. The opportunity that may send you over the top may not necessarily be shaking a loose leg. Let one of these teams make a certain type of trade, Jrue Holiday to Portland, and all of a sudden the trade that you want opens up for you. That's a very important variable to consider in these circumstances, because at the end of the day, a lot of things that are possible may not be possible today. but before the end of the offseason may very well be possible based on free agency circumstances and things that you're not really sure is about to happen yet. These are the things that I really want the Lakers to consider. Patience and being in the ready position to catch something great could be what could be the difference for us. Because in situations like this, sometimes you got to get lucky, man. Things can't go the way it looks like they're going to go if you're going to overachieve. You got to draft well. You got to find some guys in that undrafted pool that are going to be real role players that you could retrade within the next 2 years. You got to maybe land somebody at free agency on a discount like we did Austin Reeves, which is a real blessing for our franchise. Rui Hachimura to a degree as well, good value. And we need the coach to excel. I think a lot of what is going to determine how well we do is not just the roster, but how much we invest in other aspects of our organization that give us intel and various different types of things in that way. Analytics department, stuff like that. So it's probably has a lot to do with how well we're expected to do. So again, something could shake loose, man. Just be ready for anything. Because the Boston Celtics do not have the championship they just won without Jrue Holiday. And that Jrue Holiday trade came out of nowhere because nobody even thought Dame was going to the Bucks. So nobody thought that Jrue Holiday was getting ready to go anywhere. We were certain he was going to be a Buck. He was telling everybody a couple days before he was traded that he wanted to be a Buck for life. You see what I'm saying? Like, he had no idea he was going anywhere. The market probably looked very dry for that piece. If you're the Boston Celtics, pie in the sky. Who knew their rival would be giving up the best defensive point guard? They just had to be in a ready position to make a deal with Portland, a patsy that was willing to take 2 injury-prone players off of their backside. Like, these type of things, that's what I'm saying. Like, certain things just sometimes shake or loose. You can stress yourself not being able to get a trade going if you're Rob Pelinka. But I think the meditation of it all is to just be patient and wait for something to shake or loose if nothing's there. Make sure that whatever you have is comfortable enough. Get all the dead weight off of your roster. Don't sign any dead weight players that are untradeable. Chris Paul's, Valanciunas. Don't sign any of that garbage. Take the risk of taking something that's going to be getting better soon. And when you're in a position where something shakes or loose, guess what you have? Something that shakes or loose. So that's very important in my opinion. You got the pieces to get that shake or loose piece, so to speak. You have it. So that's really what it's about. If you fill your roster with a bunch of Jared Dudley, Chris Paul, assistant coach players on your bench as roster pieces, ain't nobody gonna make a trade for that trash. Ain't nobody gonna make a trade for that trash. And that's something people need to be real honest about. You better canvass the market. If nobody wants that guy, you shouldn't want to waste a roster spot on him. Because at the end of the day, you, without the picks, can't afford it. That's the God's honest truth. If nobody wants that guy, you would do better filling that roster spot with a hopeful. With an Enrique Freeman type of dude. Why? Because if he pops, he's worth something. Chris Paul, there's no pop in there. He ain't worth nothing. Only a patsy would take a trade on Chris Paul after you sign him. Whatever the price tag is. Because it's a waste of a roster spot if he can't do anything. And so that's why I'm against drafting role-playing old men, the PJ Tuckers and all that. Hell no, fam. No Jay Crowders, none of that garbage. None of that. There's no NBA for people like that no more. They can't garner value in the trade market. They should not take up any more roster spots. No more Antetokounmpo brothers. None of that. That stuff is dead, man. That's how your teams can stay bad. It's exactly how your team stays bad. So that's what I'm telling people, man. Let's be smart about the roster spots. It ain't nothing personal against these guys. Sometimes it's just time to do the big three. Sometimes it's time to go overseas. Sometimes it's time to do a podcast. There's a time and place for everything. And some of these guys' basketball careers are over. And it's not our business or in our best interest to prolong the inevitability of their downfall. I'm not giving you a parachute, fam. If it's over, it's over. You didn't get a championship, I'm very sorry for you. You ain't the first to retire without one, and you definitely ain't gonna be the last. Especially if teams like myself don't take advantage of our roster spots. We're gonna have a couple of those guys on our roster who ain't getting championships because of these bad decisions. Can't let it happen. Can't let it happen, y'all. So that's what I'm trying to tell you, man. Hope people listen to BDF 44. I'm trying to preach the good word in this NBA. It's not harmless bringing on stuff that ain't worth nothing just because you think a guy can fill a role. He's a nice player. He's really a connective piece. Yeah, but he ain't worth nothing in the trade market. I don't care if he plays great. You ain't getting nothing for that dude. And so if that's the MO on some of the players that you're targeting, do not sign them. Do not sign them. If you had 1 billion picks, you could afford to do something like that. Picks gives you the right to do stuff like that. Because then you don't necessarily need that equity you haven't made up in other things that are off the court. If it's not shown up in your overall portfolio that you have the value representing the dead weight on your team, then you can't afford to do that. It's the truth. That's why picks are so valuable, because then I can bring a Chris Paul in. Then I can bring Antetokounmpo in, his brother and all that. I can do all that stupid stuff if I got all my picks and somebody else's picks too. I can fill a roster spot with your cousin, my cousin, 6 other cousins too. Why? Because anytime I need to actually get some real talent, I just take them picks and send it somewhere. Send it somewhere. It's literally it. I can have every Dwight Powell player in the whole league if I got enough picks to represent the trash that they are. It's God's honest truth. But if I don't have them picks, if I ain't got it, I can't do it. Every roster spot is representing everything I have. So that means the roster spot's got to be valuable in the market. Not just to a collective unit, but in the damn market. And that cannot be understated by a team who doesn't have those assets. So that's where I'm at with it, man. I'm trying to get people to really, really buy into what I'm saying so that we don't do anything that further digs us into a hole where we don't have margin for error to make decisions or undo mistakes. We have to have all in place when running a basketball team that allows for things to go wrong and you to be able to fix them. And valuable pieces is the answer to that. And pieces that are not worth anything are the problem in those situations. If you look at the teams that don't have nothing, it's usually because they did dumb stuff with their roster spots and their draft picks. So that's pretty much what I gotta say, man. Looking forward to this draft tomorrow. The first round any damn way, since they're gonna split it up in 2 days. But the first round tomorrow should be important for our franchise. Unless we trade that 17th overall pick, we're definitely gonna have something involved with getting a piece that maybe you need. And if you do get a piece that you need, maybe you might luck out and get a nice player, maybe even a rookie of the year, since it's such an all over the place type of draft. So hopefully we've done our homework, and hopefully we're not scared away by those who are telling us it's a bad draft, because it really ain't. It really is not. BDF 44, thank y'all for watching. Wow.